Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yamunatira Vanachari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, text 7, text 15. Anta Sarsi Uru Balena Pade Grihito Grahina Yuta Patir Ambuja Hasta Arta Adhedam Adi Purushakila Loka Nata Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeha Anta Sarasi Rupalena Padigrihito Grahena Ryuta Patiram Bujahasta Arta Adhidam Adipusha Kila Lokanata Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Nampadeya Anta Sahasi Rubalena Pade Grihito Grahena Yuta Patir Ambuja Hasta Arta Adhedamari Purushakila Lokanata Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadheya Anta Sahasi Rubalena Pade Grihito Grahena Yuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta Ahedamari Pushakaliya Lokanata Tirtha Shravana Mangala Namadeya Anta Sarhasi Rubalena Pade Grihito Grahena Yuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta
Ahedam Adi Purusha Kila Lokanata
Adhedam Adi Pushakali Lokanata
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya
Sarasyu Rubalena Pade Grihito
Anta Sarasi Rubalena Pade Grihito
Grahena Yutha Patir Ambuja Hasta Arthah
Grahena Yuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta
Ahedamadi Purusha Kila Lokanatha
Adhedamadi Pushakali Alokanata.
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadheya.
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya.
Anta sarasi rubalena pade grihito.
Anta Sarasi Rupalena Pade Grihito.
Grahena yuta patirambuja astarta.
Grahena Yuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta.
Ahidamadi purushaki lalokanata.
Ade Damari Purushakale Alokanata.
Tirta shava shavana mangala namadeya.
Tirta Shrava Shavana Mangala Namadeya.
Anta sarasya urabalenya pade grihito.
Anta Sarasi Rupalena Pade Grihito.
Grahenya yuta patirambuja hasta arta.
Grane Nayuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta.
Ahedam adi purushakila lokanata.
Adhe Damadi Pushakali Alokanata.
Trita srava sravana mangala namadeya.
Tirta Shrava Shavana Mangala Namadeya.
Antasarasya Urubhalena Pade Grihito.
Anta Sahasi Rupalena Pade Grihito.
Grahena Yuta Pati Ambuja Hasta Artaha.
Grayena Yuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta.
Ahedam Adi Purusha Kila Lokanatha.
Adhe Damadi Purushkali Alokanata.
Tirtha Shava Shavana Mangala Namadheya.
Tirta Shava Shavana Mangala Namadeya.
Anta sarasrubalena pade grihito.
Anta Sarasi Rupalena Pade Grihito.
Grahena yuta patir ambuja hasta artaha.
Granena Yuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta.
Ahedam adi purusha kila lokanata.
Adhe Damadi Pushkali Alokanata.
Tirta shrava shravana mangala namadeya.
Tirta Shava Shavana Mangala Namadeya.
Anta sarasya yuru balena pade grihito.
Anta Sarasi Rubalena Pade Grihito.
Grahena yuta patirambuja hastarta.
Grayena Yuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta.
Ahedamadi purusha kila lokanata.
Adhe Damadi Pushkali Alokanata.
Tirta shava shavana mangala namadeya.
Tirta Shrava Shavana Mangala Namadeya.
Anta sarasya salasru valena pada grito.
Anta Sarasi Rubalena Pade Grihito.
Grahena yuta patirambuja asta artaha.
Grahena Yuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta.
Ahedam adi purusha kila lokanata.
Adhe Damadi Pushkali Alokanata.
Tirta shrava shravana mangala namadeya.
Tirta Shrava Shavana Mangala Namadeya.
Anta sarasi urubalena parigrahito.
Anta Sarhasi Rubalena Pade Grihito.
Grahena yutapatir ambuja hasta artaha.
Grahena Yuta Patirambuja Hasta Arta.
Ahedam adi purusha kila lokanata.
Adhe Damadi Purushakali Alokanata.
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya.
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya.
Anta Sarasurubalena Pade Grihito
Anta Sahasi Upalena Pade Grihito.
Rahena Yuta Patir Ambujahasta Arta
Grani Nayuta Patirambujahasta Arta.
Ahera Mari Purusha Kila Lokanata
Adi Damadi Purushkali Alokanata.
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya.
Anta sarasirubalena pade grihito.
Anta Sharhasi Upalena Pade Grihito.
Grahena yuta patir ambujahasta artaha.
Grayena Yuta Patirambujahasta Arta.
Ahidam adi purusha kila lokanata.
Adhe Damadi Pushkali Alokanata.
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya.
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya.
Antaksarasyuru balena pade grihito.
Anta Sharasi Upalena Pade Grihito.
Grahena yuta patirambujahastarta.
Grani Nayuta Patirambujahasta Arta.
Ahe damadi purushakila lokanata.
Adhe Damadi Pushkali Alokanata.
Tirtha Shravah Shravana Mangala Namadeya.
Tirtha Shrava Shravana Mangala Namadeya. So everyone chanted. So we'll do the word by word synonyms. Anta Sarasi, within the river. Uru Balena, by superior strength. Pade, leg. Grita, being taken up. Grahena, by the crocodile. Yuta Pati, of the leader of the elephants. Ambuja Hasta, with a lotus flower in the hand. Arta, greatly aggrieved. Aha, addressed. Idam, like this. Adi Purusha, the original enjoyer. Akila Lokanata, the Lord of the universe. Tirtha Shrava, as a place of pilgrimage. Shravana Mangala, all good simply by hearing the name. Namadeya, whose holy name is worth chanting. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The leader of the elephants, whose leg was attached in a river by a crocodile of superior strength, was much aggrieved. Taking a lotus flower in his trunk, he addressed the Lord, saying, O original enjoyer, Lord of the universe, O deliverer, as famous as a place of pilgrimage, all are purified simply by hearing your holy name, which is worthy to be chanted. Purport: the history of delivering the leader of the elephants whose leg was attacked in the river by the superior strength of a crocodile is described in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Since the Lord is absolute knowledge, there's no difference between his holy name and the personality of Godhead. The leader of the elephants was much distressed when he was attacked by the crocodile. Although the elephant is always stronger than the crocodile, the latter is stronger than the elephant when it is in the water. And because the elephant was a great devotee of the Lord in his previous birth, He was able to chant the holy name of the Lord by dint of his past good deeds. Every living entity is always distressed in this material world because this place is such that at every step one has to meet with some kind of distress. But one who is supported by his past good deeds engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7:16. Those who are supported by impious acts cannot be engaged in devotional service of the Lord, even though they are distressed. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 15. The personality of Godhead Hari appeared at once on the back of his eternal bearer, Garuda, and delivered the elephant. The elephant was conscious of his relation with the Supreme Lord. He addressed the Lord as Adi Purusha, or the original enjoyer. Both the Lord and the living beings are conscious and are therefore enjoyers, but the Lord is the original enjoyer because he is the creator of everything. In a family, both the father and his sons are undoubtedly enjoyers, but the father is the original enjoyer, and the sons are subsequent enjoyers. A pure devotee knows well that everything in the universe is the property of the Lord, and the living entity can enjoy a thing as ordained by the Lord. A living being cannot even touch a thing which is not allotted to him. This idea of the original enjoyer is explained very nicely in the Ishopanishad. One who knows this difference between the Lord and himself never accepts anything without first offering it to the Lord. The elephant addressed the Lord as Akila Lokanatha, or the Lord of the universe, who is therefore the Lord of the elephant also. The elephant, being a pure devotee of the Lord, specifically deserved to be saved from the attack of the crocodile. And because it is a promise of the Lord that his devotee will never be vanquished, it was quite befitting that the elephant called upon the Lord to protect him. And the merciful Lord also at once responded. The Lord is the protector of everyone, but he is the first protector of one who acknowledges the superiority of the Lord instead of being so falsely proud as to deny the superiority of the Lord or to claim to be equal to him. He is ever superior. A pure devotee of the Lord knows the difference between the Lord and himself. Therefore, a pure devotee is given first preference because of his full dependence, whereas the person who denies the existence of the Lord and declares himself the Lord is called asura. And as such, he is given protection by the strength of limited power, subject to the sanction of the Lord. Since the Lord is superior to everyone, his perfection is also superior. No one can imagine it. The elephant addressed the Lord as Tirthashrava, or as famous as a place of pilgrimage. People go to places of pilgrimage in order to be delivered from the reactions of unknown sinful acts. But one can be freed from all sinful reactions simply by remembering his holy name. The Lord is therefore as good as the holy place of pilgrimage. One can be free from all sinful reactions after reaching a place of pilgrimage. Jai Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. But one can have the same benefit at home or at any place simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. For a pure devotee, there is no need to go to the holy place of pilgrimage. He can be delivered from all sinful acts simply by remembering the Lord in earnestness. A pure devotee of the Lord never commits any sinful acts. But because the whole world is full of the sinful atmosphere, even a pure devotee may commit a sin unconsciously as a matter of course. One who commits sinful acts consciously cannot be worthy of being a devotee of the Lord. But a pure devotee who unconsciously does something sinful is certainly delivered by the Lord, because a pure devotee remembers the Lord always. The Lord's holy name is called Shravana Mangala. This means that one receives everything auspicious simply by hearing the holy name. Another place in Srimad Bhagavatam, his holy name is described as Punya Shravana Kirtana. It is a pious act simply to chant and hear all about the Lord. The Lord descends on this earth and acts like others in connection with the activities of the world, just to create subject matters for hearing about him Otherwise, the Lord has nothing to do in this world, nor has any obligation to do anything. He comes out of his own causeless mercy and acts as he desires. The Vedas and Puranas are full of descriptions of his different activities, so that people in general may naturally be eager to hear and read something about his activities. Generally, however, the modern fictions and novels of the world occupy a greater part of people's valuable time. Such literatures cannot do good to anyone. On the contrary, they agitate the young mind unnecessarily and increase the modes of passion and ignorance, leading to increasing bondage to the material conditions. Well, the same aptitude for hearing and reading is better utilized in hearing and reading of the Lord's activities. This will give one all-around benefit. It is concluded, therefore, that the holy name of the Lord and topics in relation with him are always worth hearing. And therefore, he is called here in this verse, Nama Deha, or one whose holy name is worth chanting. Yeah, so this is a really good verse, a couple of next verses that are coming up. So I have some pretty good history in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a narration that took place in the heavenly planets in an island in the, just above the Milk Ocean. So we were kind of talking about this, about when the demons and demigods turned the Milk Ocean into poison and nectar. It's like, where is this Milk Ocean? Just exactly what geographical location of the universe are we talking about? Because I know the Milk Ocean on Svetsvadvip or Dhuvaloka, but apparently there's a description of the 7 Dvipas, the islands in the universe, and each are surrounded by an ocean, and then it's surrounded by a milk ocean, right? So we're talking about this milk ocean. So there's this island. So I'm going to be reading about that. But I listened to this verse by Gopi Pranana, and I believe he was one of Ishkan's editors, and he traveled with Srila Prabhupada and read the verses in the morning in the Srimad Bhagavatam classes. And he mentioned a few good points. They're saying, okay, so what's like good and bad in the material world? Is there a favorable condition or a non-favorable condition? And he says basically everything's all bad, right? The only thing that's a good favorable condition in the material world is the opportunity to actually engage in devotional service or to hear about the pastimes in the holy name of the Supreme Lord, whose names are worth hearing and chanting, and purify even the great souls. And even the great souls themselves, they purify the holy places of pilgrimage. So then another point that he mentioned was, okay, just like Bharata Maharaj, he was able to remember his past life in the body of a deer by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he stuck close to the hermitages and just heard the saintly persons, the pure devotees, hear and chant about Krishna. And so here they're saying Gajendra also had a similar experience. He was a great soul. He was King Indradyumna in his previous life, and he was cursed to become an elephant, right? And so generally an animal mouth, an animal body, they're not geared towards speech and language or to understand the science of the self. But here Gajendra, he's remembering a prayer from his previous life, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And I'm going to actually read the prayers in a few moments, but he's addressing the Lord as the Supreme and as the Super Soul and the Benefactor and Proprietor and Deliverer of all conditioned souls, like that. So he was able to speak this. He was so even in the body of an animal like an elephant. And not only that, but in the heavenly planets, this jungle is described, and it's pretty far out. The lions, they roar loudly, right? Thinking that there's other lions also that roar. And so then, what else? Maybe I'll just go ahead and read that then. It's 8th canto, chapter 2 and chapter 3. Because what was happening is that the elephant is a very, very strong animal, probably stronger than the crocodile, but because he was not in his normal habitat, he was in the water, he was weakened, but the crocodile is in his natural habitat in the water, so that he was stronger. And they actually fought for 1,000 years of demigods. But Gajendra was saying that basically he was losing the battle. Yeah, so Sukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, there is a very large mountain called Trikuta. It is 10,000 yojanas, 80,000 miles high, being surrounded by the ocean of milk. It is very beautifully situated. The length and breadth of the mountain are of the same measurement, 80,000 miles. Its three principal peaks, which are made of iron, silver, and gold, beautify all directions and the sky. The mountain also has other peaks, which are full of jewels and minerals, and are decorated with nice trees, creepers, and shrubs. The sounds of the waterfalls on the mountain create a pleasing vibration. In this way, the mountain stands, increasing the beauty in all directions. The ground at the foot of the mountain is always washed by the waves of milk that produce emeralds all around in the 8 directions, north, south, east, west, and the directions midway between them. And the inhabitants of the higher planets, the Siddhas, Charnas, Gandharvas, Vidyaharas, serpents, Kinnaras, and Aspars, go to that mountain to sport. Thus all the caves on the mountain are full of these denizens of the heavenly planets. Because of the resounding vibrations of the denizens of heaven singing in the caves, the lions there, being very proud of their strength, roar with unbearable envy, thinking that another lion is roaring in that way. The valleys beneath Trikuta mountain are beautifully decorated by many varieties of jungle animals. And in the trees, which are maintained in gardens by the demigods, varieties of birds chirp with sweet voices. Trikuta mountain has many lakes and rivers with beaches covered by small gems resembling grains of sand. The water is as clear as crystal, and when the demigod damsels bathe in it, their bodies lend fragrance to the water and the breeze, thus enriching the atmosphere. So in the valley of Trikuta mountain, there was a garden called Rutmat. This garden belonged to the great devotee Varuna and was a sporting place for the damsels of the demigods. Flowers and fruits grew there in all seasons. Among them were mandaras, parijatas, patalas, aksokas, kamkas, kutas, pailas, panasas, mangoes, amratakas, kamrukas, coconut trees, date trees, and pomegranates. There were madhukutas, palm trees, tamalas, asanas, arjuns, aristas, undimbaras, palakshas, banyan trees, kimshukas, and sandalwood trees. There were also pikumardas, kovidaras, saralas, suryadaras, grapes, sugarcane, bananas, jambu, butterfees, akshas, apayas, and amalakis. So there's a lot of varieties of fruits that probably aren't known or seen on this planet, as well as some that are known to us that are on the heavenly planets. What was it? Lanka was telling me, the Prabhupada said there's more varieties, there's more taste, there's more sounds and colors in Krishna Loka than there are in the material world. Yeah, I'll get to Gajendra's prayers, exactly what had happened, because we know about the fight. They fought for over 1,000 years. He's the leader of the elephants. All his she-elephants, they were lamenting the plight of their husband. Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, thereafter the king of the elephants, Gajendra, fixed his mind in his heart with perfect intelligence and chanted a mantra which he had learned in his previous birth as Indradyumna, and which he remembered Gajendra said, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Person, Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Because of him, this material body acts due to the presence of spirit, and he is therefore the root cause of everyone. He is worshipful for such exalted persons as Brahma and Shiva, and he has entered the heart of every living being. Let me meditate upon him. The Supreme Godhead is the supreme platform on which everything rests, the ingredient by which everything has been produced, and the person who has created and is the only cause of this cosmic manifestation. Nonetheless, he is different from the cause and the result. I surrender unto him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is self-sufficient in everything. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by expanding his own energy, keeps this cosmic manifestation visible and again sometimes renders it invisible. He is both the supreme cause and the supreme result, the observer and the witness in all circumstances. Thus, he is transcendental to everything. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead give me protection. In due course of time, when all the causative and effective manifestations of the universe, including the planets and their directors and maintainers, are annihilated, there is a situation of dense darkness. Above this darkness, however, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I take shelter of his lotus feet. An artist on stage being covered by attractive dresses and dancing with different movements is not understood by his audience. Similarly, the activities and features of the Supreme Artist cannot be understood even by the demigods and great sages, and certainly not by those who are unintelligent like animals. Neither the demigods and sages nor the unintelligent can understand the features of the Lord, nor can they express in words his actual position. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead give me protection. Renunciants and great sages who see all living beings equally, who are friendly to everyone, and who flawlessly practice in the forest the vows of brahmacharya, vanaprastha, and sannyas, desire to see the all-auspicious lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. May that same Supreme Personality of Godhead be my destination. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no material birth, activities, name, form, qualities, or faults. To fulfill the purpose for which this material world is created and destroyed, he comes in the form of a human being like Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, by his original internal potency. He has immense potency and in various forms, all free from material contamination. He acts wonderfully. He is therefore the Supreme Brahman. I offer my respects to him. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the self-involved Super Soul, who is the witness in everyone's heart, who enlightens the individual soul, and it cannot be reached by exercises of the mind, words, or consciousness. The Supreme Person of Godhead is realized by pure devotees who act in the transcendental existence of Bhakti Yoga. He is the bestower of uncontaminated happiness and is the master of the transcendental world. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So yeah, in this verse, this is pretty much like everything that we've pretty much just been reading just recently. The Purusha, Shukta, how the Supreme Lord manifests the material worlds, how he existed before creation, maintains the creation and continues to exist when the creation again is not visible, when it's manifest and unmanifest eternal, and that Krishna is the super soul of all living entities and the witness, the supreme witness, and that he's not taking part in pleasure, he's neutral, not taking part in pleasure or distresses of living entities, so that's the way to think of the Supreme well as we were listening how the four Kumaras, they were able to articulate the transcendental message in such a way in the new creation, Rama saying in the previous creation that the religious principles were practically destroyed. So I looked it up, what to do to follow in the footsteps of the four Kumaras. So it's stated in the Padma Purana that Narada Muni approached the four Kumaras to ask them what is the actual goal of transcendence and self-realization. And they said, is that they hear and chant the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there you go. Hearing about the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in its various forms and manifestations. So that's the actual subject matter of the Paramahamsa, the swan-like persons. Not like so many other useless novels, Prabhupada was mentioned in the report, that are just like pilgrimages for crows, or those ears that never hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the holy name. Their ear holes are like the holes of snakes. Or the eyes that never see the beautiful form of the Lord are like the decorative plumes on the peacock feathers. Like that. Or do the bellows not breathe? So it's like the breathing of a dead man, or the breathing of a dead pelvis. If he doesn't chant, glorify the Supreme Personality of God, and engage in devotional service. So his saying, his hearing, his breathing, everything is all useless. If it's a king and it's a crown, but he doesn't bow down to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God, or the pure devotee, then his head and crown is useless. So there's so many verses like that. Are there any questions or comments or subject for discussion? Everyone satisfied with today's class?
Yeah.
Do you have a question? Any comment?
There's a book called Pirkei Avos. It's a Jewish scripture. It has different rabbis contributed their opinion, and they said something really similar to what you said, that any group of men who gather around the table who don't discuss the Lord and they don't discuss the Lord, it's no better than just a group of dead men singing everything.
Yeah, dead men singing, yeah. That would even be a better description of giving them a lot of credit than a den of demons. A den of thieves and den of demons. Prabhupada was saying that there were some thieves, they stole some things, and now they're going to divide it. And so one of these thieves, he says, divide it morally. Prabhupada said, what do you mean divide it morally? You're thieves, you stole it. Now you're talking about morality. Yeah. Yes, that's a good comment. Also, somewhere in the Quran it's mentioned too that there's a form of the Lord is described in the it describes Krishna as being blue, or God as being blue, having a bluish form. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Or you have a question or comment?
Hare Krishna. I like how in the report Srila Prabhupada was saying that a pure devotee is supported by their past good deeds. And I really like this point because it just, I feel less pressure when I go out and, like after reading this, I feel less pressure to go out and share Krishna consciousness. I could find it.
It's 7:15.
Yeah, in the first
7:14, 7:15.
It's the last paragraph, I think, or the second to last.
The Prabhupada was mentioning.
Let's see. It starts out as his holy name is described as Punya Shravana Kirtana. It is a pious act simply to chant and hear all about the Lord. The Lord descends to this earth and acts like others in connection with the activities of the world just to create. Oh, sorry. That's not what I was talking about. That is nice too.
I believe it's in like the first paragraph. Bhagavatam 7:15. Because generally, a devotional service isn't rewarded, due to somebody's karma or past pious activities. But it's to be understood in the verses of Bhagavad Gita. I'll read the verses, but persons who are engaging in pious activities, they can also engage in devotional services, God's mercy, but they're not so actively prone to because of their sinful activities. They'd rather be attached to their intoxication and their families, right? Rather than someone who is more pious, right? Who's engaged in more pious activity. Actually, in the material world, there are no pious activities, but persons that were involved in material religiosity, they kind of saw the similarities with Krishna consciousness and their religion, like, some similarities with Catholicism, or some similarities with having a personal relationship with God, or something like that. So kind of, or our LSD experiences, misconceptions of spiritual life and personalism, somehow or other, we're able to come to devotional service. But basically, in Bhagavad Gita, what he's saying is that the four kinds of pious men who surrender unto Krishna is distress, desire of wealth, those who are seeking for knowledge of the absolute, inquisitive, right? And then the other one, these persons never surrender to Krishna. Those miscreants are grossly foolish or lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stoned by illusion and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. And then the verse just before that, 7:14, deviation, this divine energy of mind consisting of three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome. But those who are surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Samsara, Deva, and Ali, look. Recently there was a big giant fire and people, they died inside their cars, they couldn't get out, there was a big giant traffic jam, they tried to bump a car into each other. Yeah, there was an explanation and how somebody got out of their car and got their motorcycle out of their garage and tried to avoid all that scene and was ducking, going around power lines and stuff. Like over 200 people are missing. So the material world's forest fire, dense illusions like that. So anything can happen, danger at every step. The spiritual master is the cloud, the mercy of the rain cloud is delivering devotional service and pure love of Krishna, which extinguishes the blazing fire of material existence, like that. So, did that actually answer your question or support your comments?
Yeah, I was supporting, because I was also thinking immediately when I read this, or when you read it, about my family, and how, sometimes my mom will say Hare Krishna to us, but she's not so interested in devotional life.
Yeah, but she'll say it like out of respect.
Right, she'll say it out of respect, and she'll also prepare a vegetarian meal, and she won't taste it while she cooks.
Oh, that's good. That's nice.
It's really nice.
Oh, good.
So I was just thinking, she's not so interested in devotional life, but it's just after reading this, those little pious things that she does, telling us to offer the food to Krishna. Can you offer this to Krishna so we can eat now?
Oh, good.
Something like that.
Oh, that's good.
So I just pray that in her next life she doesn't take in this life. And that's just like with anybody we meet, even if they just say Hare Krishna, to us.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. I guess what is it? There's devotional service, what do you call it? Like unconscious devotional service. Engage persons in devotional service without their knowledge. Yeah, Jagar Sakriti. Avyakta Sakriti. Avyakta Sakriti, yeah. So Maharaj was stating one thing, one brahmachari who was going from door to door, asking alms or whatever a person can offer, right? And the person says, oh, okay, here, wait right here. And he went to the furnace and got a shovel and got a whole shovel shovel full of ashes. And the brahmachari was standing there with his cloth, holding his cloth open, and he dumped a whole shovel of ashes in the brahmachari's cloth. And the brahmachari says, "Thank you." And he goes, "Well, I just gave you a whole bunch of ashes." He says, "Yes, that may be true, but your devotional service has begun." So even from like the lowest standard, when we continue to be elevated and gradually rise to the standard. So that's nice. And any other questions or comments? Like they usually in class there, Srimad, Bhagavatam,